Let me rewind just a bit. I wanted to talk about singles. You mentioned how singles were really important back in the day, and I mean they really are to an extent today too. But with the way music is consumed now, it's so much easier to get right for everybody. I mean, you just click on YouTube or Spotify, and it's there. Is the choice of a single is it as important today as it was back then to be heard?
I would think so. I would certainly think so, because that particular track from an album has the focus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up that art, you heard of an artist that you like, the first choice is going to come up is whatever that their hits are, whatever
Mm-hmm.
their singles are.
Yeah.
You have to you you as the listener have to go delve a little deeper to go find those tracks that aren't the single. I haven't had a hit single in a while, so I don't know exactly how much one makes anymore from a hit.
I would imagine that it's still the same concept. I mean, the single has to be kind of like the hook in a novel, right? Like it has to be the one that gets people to listen or want to listen to the rest of the record. And if your hook isn't any good, then nobody's going to read the book, right?
Right, right. It certainly gets the most exposure. The
Right.
singles do,
Yeah, I would
absolutely.
imagine so.
But
So here, go ahead.
I was just going to say, from my experience as a writer, a single, even back in the '90s, would be life changing for you as a songwriter. Now, album cuts would provide you with an opportunity to remain at your publishing company because you were recouping. You had what they call pipeline money coming in. But the single could change your life, and it did. I had a couple of hits. They were both in the same year, and I was able to buy some land and build a house. If I didn't get those singles, I don't know if I would have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the way it used to be structured is that the performance money from FM stations, from ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, are the three main performing rights organizations. Your money from the radio play would come directly to you, your share of it. So let's say you had a publishing deal and it was a 50-50 deal. 50% of the money would go to them, and 50% of the money would come directly to you in the mail. Nowadays, a lot of the companies are actually doing what they call cross collateralization, meaning they collect your performance monies and your mechanical and streaming monies to recoup the advances they gave. Back in the day, to use a overused phrase, it was separate. So that money that you made from the radio play went directly to you. Didn't have to filter through your publisher to recoup money that you owe them, that you owed them anyway.
I see. I see. Well, that makes sense on why singles were so important and probably still
Absolutely.
are. Let me see here. Where was I? All right.
And
So, go ahead.
not only that, Chris, is that it gave you some credibility on Music Row. If your song was a hit, people knew of it. If it was just an album cut, if they didn't own that album, they probably didn't even know you had a song on that
And
album.
artists would ask for you by name if you're building that kind of rep, right?
Sometimes, yes, yeah. There was a guy named Hugh Presswood who wrote "Song Remembers When" for
Mm-hmm.
Trisha Yearwood,
Love it.
all kinds of things. And he was kind of one of my heroes because he was at the same company I was at, and at BMG. And my friend who was the song plugger would go, "Hey, Opie, Hugh just sent his new song," and once a month he would send a demo they wrote by himself down, and he'd close the door and we'd listen to the new demo. And getting back to your question is the producers and A&R people would put it on hold before even hearing the song yet because
Mm-hmm.
of the name, because of that reputation, because he had hits. He wrote, what was it? "The Moon Is Still Over Her Shoulder" for Michael Johnson. Um, "Hard Rock Bottom of My Heart" for Randy Travis. He had that run because of his notoriety at the time. People knew of his name, they knew his songs, and that was because he had the singles.
Yeah. Yep.